Thank God my Rays got off the schneid yesterday. They beat the Oakland A's. Rays beat the A's yesterday. They are back to 500. Still in second place in the AL East behind the hated Red Sox. So hopefully that's going to change soon. All right, so remember yesterday we were talking, it was National Prime Rib Day. All right? It was National Prime Rib Day yesterday, and I was telling you guys that prime rib is my favorite cut of beef. And, my favorite cut of meat, period, actually. And I told you guys I really love to dip it, when they bring you you're at a restaurant and they bring you the prime rib and they bring you the bowl of au jus. Au jus.
Delicious.
And you guys were making fun of me, and Adam goes, he doesn't really think that's how you pronounce it, au juice.
Yeah, but okay, there you go. You went au juice on this one. You went juice on the last one. I mean, so you tried
juice is loose.
Yeah, you tried to French it up a little bit on that, but now we're back to juice. Au juice.
Au juice.
Yeah.
That's how I actually thought that was how you pronounced it. Au juice.
No, you did. No, you
This
did
is
not.
a cream brulee situation.
Cream
No,
brulee.
I never thought. No, I never thought cream brulee was the way you.
But you really did.
I did think it was cream brulee and not creme brulee. But I thought it was au juice. That's how it looks.
Now, also, with Adam talking about chicken and prime rib, we put this poll up yesterday on our Instagram story. And surprisingly, out of prime rib and chicken, 54% of our audience voted chicken. Adam, look at this.
Really?
Wow.
Get out of here.
A lot of kids voting chicken fingers.
They need some Nebraska beef, let me tell you.
Ugh. So au juice. How do you say it?
Au jus.
Au jus?
Yeah,
Yes.
so there's no C,
So
there's no S. Yeah, I mean, for these intents and purposes, yes, there is no
Au jus?
Au jus. Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was all juice. Just
really
like I
did.
thought. Yeah.
I didn't think. I thought you were kidding. I figured at least once in your life you'd have said, waiter, can I get some more of that au juice sauce? And he'd have been like, huh? What?
And I still think it's Chipotle. And how do you
gosh.
How do you guys Chipotle?
Chipotle. It just sounded
That's
out.
no silent L in there, Mike.
No, he puts the L before the T. Chipotle. That's what he says.
Oh, okay. Chipotle. Okay. All right. There you go. Scoots it over.
But you're saying it's Chipotle.
There you go. You nailed it. Beautiful.
Okay. All right. So that's the genesis of our spontaneous text question.
Oh, caught you slacking.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
Okay, so words that you have pronounced wrong for essentially your entire life, all right? And maybe somebody, corrected you on it, like you guys just corrected me on au jus. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Au jus?
Killed it right
Au jus
there. Oh, my
in
gosh.
Chipotle, all right? So text those into 50857.
Is it? Can I get a 20-second time? Is it Chipotle or Chipotle?
Chipotle.
Not you. You're adding it. You're still keeping your L where you like it, but then fixing it with the real L. But you've got an L in there that doesn't exist.
So Chipotle.
There you go.
Chipotle.
Chipotle. Yep.
It looks like Chipotle.
When I speak fast, I also throw that extra L.
Yeah.
But it is technically Chipotle.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, 50857. Text in words you have traditionally mispronounced until somebody corrected you.
I'm waiting
all
for
right?
Mike to throw in hors d'oeuvres. How he has
Whores the
No, that's
boars.
right. No, whores the yours. That's a shtick there.
No, how is it that's a shtick, but au juice wasn't? Okay,
Because I'm telling you, all juice is how I've been to Outback many times in order to prime rib with all juice.
I can tell you right now, nobody at Outback Steakhouse gives a damn how you pronounce au jus. They're like, you can mispronounce literally my name, Hannah, right here. As long as you tip me, I don't care. Okay, that's exactly what they're thinking.
It's funny because I was sitting there thinking, I'm thinking, man, Mike's probably been to these restaurants where he orders it and says au jus sauce, and I'm sure somebody would have said, "You mean au jus?"
Nope. The waiter goes to the back and just makes fun.
No,
of it.
but he's saying, what he just said was, when I get prime rib at Outback, and I'm going, oh, okay, that makes sense. He's not, this is not like, Landry's
sorry,
or
I don't go to Ruth's Chris or to Burns Steakhouse in Tampa. Yes,
They definitely would have told you au jus, sir.
They would have kicked you out.
Especially had you been on a date, they'd have definitely tried to make you look bad. Sir, do you mean au jus sauce? Welcome to Burns Steakhouse for your first time, apparently.
Like you guys don't have any words that you've mispronounced throughout your life.
So here's what I will tell you, that I'm pretty good about pronunciation. I'm terrible at spelling. Now, if you ask me to spell stuff, then I'm in big trouble. I'm trying to think. There's one word that I used to use all the time, and then it technically wasn't a word, but I think Webster's has changed and made it a word.
Made it a word?
Made it a word.
Nice.
I'm trying to think. God, I'll remember it here in a little bit, but
the ones that I can think of were like I would say, instead of vineyard, I would say vineyard, because I just spelled it. Or I looked at it. It's vineyard.
And you really thought that wine was made at a vineyard?
In a vineyard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I have since been corrected that it's vineyard, which fine, I guess. Vineyard makes way more sense.
You don't know how many times I've called people on my pahone.
Oh, wow. Anyway, text those into 50857. That is our spontaneous text question of the day. By the way, the Magic play again tonight. Steve Clifford will not be there. They play the Cavaliers tonight. And again, he's going to miss his third game with COVID. With a COVID-19 infection. Who knows when he will be back? We had John Hammond on the show yesterday, and we asked him how Steve Clifford was doing. And John Hammond essentially said, he didn't use these exact words, but he said, thankfully, Steve Clifford was vaccinated. Maybe that lessened the repercussions of COVID, because Clifford is 59 years old, and he's been asymptomatic thus far, and says he's feeling great as he continues to deal with COVID. So maybe the vaccination had something to do with lessening the symptoms of COVID-19.
That is something that the CDC has said with all vaccines, is that it, while it is very effective against reducing your chances of getting COVID, even more so, I think, and this is just going off of memory, I believe all three vaccines were 100% effective from stopping people from having to go to the hospital due to COVID. So extreme cases of COVID, it is 100% effective against. So hey, go get that vaccine, brother.
Yeah, hopefully Steve Clifford returns to the bench soon. Or maybe he'll just go, well, you know what, the season's almost over anyway. Why don't I just sit out the rest of the games?
Steve Clifford said, the only good thing about COVID is I didn't have to sit through all those games.
All right, straight ahead, I have a theory as to how Kyle Trask will become the best quarterback of this NFL draft class. That is next on Open Mic.
Open Mic with Mike Bianchi.
Skill level
out there. But I would fair to say 10 years from now, if you look back in this draft, he will be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in this draft. That would be my assessment because of his size, his professionalism, and his accuracy. And you get to the next level, he's athletic within the pocket. He can move. He can see over everything. He's 6'5", 240 pounds, so he can handle being in the pocket. And he's an extremely accurate, good decision maker, which you need to succeed at the next level.
That's Florida Gators football coach Dan Mullen talking about Kyle Trask and how he's not listed among the top 5 quarterbacks in the upcoming NFL draft. He's been projected as, now they're saying he might be the 7th quarterback picked behind the Trevor Lawrences and the Justin Fields and the Zach Wilsons. Who are some of the others they're listing? Trey Lance from North Dakota State. Now they're saying Kellen Mond, Mac Jones of Alabama. Now they're saying Kellen Mond of Texas A&M may go in front of Kyle Trask. All right, which I think is sheer lunacy. I think Kyle Trask dropping like he has in the draft is, again, maybe I'm being a Gator homer here. Maybe I'm being a provincialist. But the guy, Dan Mullen's right. This guy's 6'5", 240 pounds. He threw for 4,283 yards, which was second in the nation last year. He led the nation in touchdown passes, 43. He's playing in the SEC. He completed nearly 70% of his passes. And you're going to rate him as the 6th best quarterback in the draft? Again, I don't get it. I realize he's not the most mobile guy in the world, but it's not like the guy's a statue back there. He tucks the ball and runs when he has to. I don't get it. But I do have a scenario. In fact, I wrote a column in today's Orlando Sentinel. You can read it right now if you want at OrlandoSentinel.com. It's right there on the website for you to read.
Cheap plug.
Thank you. If this happens, Kyle Trask is going to go down as the best quarterback of this NFL draft class. If the Tampa Bay Buccaneers draft him, if they draft him, he sits on the bench for a year or two behind Brady. Now, I don't know where they would draft him. Hell, if he's the 6th quarterback taken, he could go in the 2nd round. He could go. The Bucs have the last pick in the 1st round. They could use it there, or they have the last pick in the 2nd round. Hell, Kyle Trask might be available. If some of these NFL draft gurus are correct, he might be available in the 2nd round. But let Kyle Trask sit behind Brady for a year or two. We've talked about this before. Nobody is more patient than Kyle Trask. He sat behind De'Aaron King in high school. He sat behind 4 quarterbacks at the University of Florida, including Felipe Franks. He probably would have never gotten his chance had Felipe Franks not been injured. So Kyle Trask is patient. Let him sit behind Brady. Let him learn from Bruce Arians, the quarterback whisperer. And I'm telling you, once Brady's gone, Kyle Trask will take off. He will take off in Tampa Bay. That's my prediction. All right. And not necessarily because I'm not predicting this because he's more athletically gifted than some of these other quarterbacks. Hell, he doesn't run a 4.40 like Justin Fields. Everybody knows Trevor Lawrence is considered, physically, the best quarterback in this draft. When you talk about arm talent, is that the phrase they use? Arm talent.
That's a good one.
The arm talent and all of this stuff. Size. Trevor Lawrence is 6'6". I think he's about 240 pounds as well. So, but when you go to bad teams, all right. When you go to ask Blake Bortles and Blaine Gabbert what being drafted by the Jaguars did for their careers, all right? You go to bad teams like Zach Wilson going to the Jets, all right? Quarterbacks who go, and I'm not talking about necessarily, Tom Brady was a 6th-round draft pick. That's the example people always use. But quarterbacks who go maybe later in the 1st round, I think they have a much better chance of being successful. I'm gonna do something right here. All right. So let's look at the passer ratings from. Let me go to ESPN.com, NFL stats. All right, passing stats, passer ratings from this past season. All right, the passer ratings. I'm not talking about passing yardage, or I'm talking about the ratings of the quarterbacks. All right, Aaron Rodgers, number one. He wasn't a high first round.
No, he was a late first rounder. Remember, he had to sit. I want to say he was one of those guys that was the uncomfortable green room. No. I'm talking about when he was drafted. He was the uncomfortable green room guy.
Yeah. That's right, because he was going to, people predicted him. He was drafted 24th overall by the Packers. All right? So Aaron Rodgers, not a high draft. Deshaun Watson, didn't he sit a while? He wasn't a top 10 pick.
I'm Googling that real quick.
All right, Google Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he was a top 10 pick. He waited, Josh Allen. Where was Josh Allen picked?
I think all of these guys are like in that top
Josh
10
Allen
range.
was picked. He was picked. Where was he picked? He was picked 7th. So
Patrick
he's a
Mahomes was 10th. Deshaun Watson was 12th.
Yeah.
So not exactly late picks by any means.
No. I'm going down the list. Russell Wilson. We know he was picked in he was a 3rd round draft pick. Drew Brees, 2nd round draft pick, I believe. Wasn't he taken in the 2nd round?
Yes, by San Diego.
Yeah.
So my point is, at least some of the top quarterbacks are, or maybe half even. Maybe half of the top quarterbacks weren't top 10 draft picks, and they were taken by better teams. And I think that has a lot to do with your NFL success. I really do. So, again, if the Bucs were to draft Kyle Trask in the 1st round, I think there's a chance he could turn out to be the best quarterback in this draft. Thoughts?
I don't jive with that.
Really?
I don't jive with that thinking, because if that were the case, when guys who floundered on bad teams went to a good team, they would then be good quarterbacks. And can you tell me of guys that did that? Like the guys that you chose remained bad.
Not that I chose. I just went down the list.
No.
What he's saying is
you're Blake Bortles. Like, why isn't Blake Bortles currently a starting quarterback
Here's
elsewhere?
why. Because they get so beat up and sucked of their they get beat up. They're behind bad offensive lines. They have no weapons. They lose their confidence when they get put on these bad teams, and it's hard to come back from that. That's my theory, anyways. That's my theory.
I don't know. I don't jive with that. I don't like it. I think that if you are a good quarterback,
It's a great theory, brother.
it's a great theory. I don't think that. I think that if you're a good quarterback, then no matter the situation you're in, you will have flashes of greatness. Joe Burrow is in the worst kind of situation, and he showed flashes of what he could be behind something that is bad. So I don't buy it. Personally.
Okay, I'm gonna go. All right, I've got the lists up here of quarterbacks. All right, I'm gonna go down the list of passer ratings last year. Aaron Rodgers, not a top 10 pick. Deshaun Watson, not a top 10 pick. Patrick Mahomes was. Josh Allen was. Ryan Tannehill, 5th. All right, there's a quarterback who floundered.
There you go.
In Miami.
That's the guy you're looking for.
That is a good poll for that.
Okay. Drew Brees, not a 1st round pick. Russell Wilson, not a top 10 pick. Kirk Cousins, number 8, not even a 1st round pick. Tom Brady, not a 1st round pick. Derek Carr, I don't think he was a 1st round pick. I think he was a 2nd rounder. Lamar Jackson, last pick in the 1st round, last quarterback taken in the 1st round of that draft. So of the top 10, we'll go 11 because of Lamar Jackson. All right. Of the top 11 quarterbacks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Of the top 11, 8 weren't picked in the top 11. And half of them were not even taken in the 1st round. I think that's a pretty good statistic right there.
Yeah, it's a good statistic, but I think that at the end of the day, what we're talking about is, sometimes guys find themselves in the right place. And to me, Kyle Trask, and you look at his history and where he's been and what he's sort of, I say it faced adversity. He's just kind of a guy that's been willing to wait his turn. If you had the pick of scenarios for a guy like Kyle Trask, it would be in Tampa Bay, where he could sit a year or two, learn from one of the greatest.
Maybe Pittsburgh behind Roethlisberger.
Something like that, I think, would make a lot of sense because he is probably, because he's not doing it with all athleticism. The more he can sort of take in the NFL mentally before he gets thrown out there to the wolves, if you will, I think the better situation will be for Kyle Trask. And Tampa's the one that I brought up, a few weeks ago, and I said, oh, they don't need anything. Why don't they start thinking about the quarterback of the future in a year or two? Kyle Trask could be perfect on the back end. Now, I didn't know Kyle Trask was going to continue to slip. It's almost like the only tape that some of these NFL GMs and these scouts have are the Oklahoma game or something for some reason. That's the only.
Why don't you ask your friend who said that Brady was going to go to the Bucs? Why don't you ask him if they're going to draft Kyle Trask?
I will.
The Bucs insider.
He might have already told me.
All right, straight ahead, Dr. J dissing LeBron James. I'll explain next on Open Mic.
Exciting stuff, you see. It's the front page of the internet.
Welcome back to Open Mic. It is time for the front page of the internet this morning. We start off on YouTube's trending page, where trending is an interesting video, at least for myself, from the creator Small Ant, who is a Twitch streamer. He decided to play Pokemon Fire Red, and he wanted to do it without dealing any damage.
Oh, wow.
I know,
How
you're
would
shocked.
you possibly?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy. Mike, do you know anything about Pokemon? No?
I know I know what Pokemon is, but I don't know about this game you're talking
So
about.
Pokemon is the game. It's like the Nintendo game.
It's what I order for lunch when I'm in Jamaica. Let me get some of that Pokemon.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, oh, sorry.
No.
Okay. I'm not going to do that.
But moral of the story is it's a game all around animals fighting animals and all that sort of stuff. It's great fun. Fun for the whole family.
Animals. They're not real.
Pocket monsters.
Charizard.
That's right. Charizard, all those stuff. This guy did a full run without technically dealing damage. Did it in 9 hours, and this was his entire Twitch stream. 9 hours. Crazy.
People watch that?
Well, a lot of people watch it. This video has around 700,000 views right now.
Wow.
And it's on the front page of YouTube, so it's going to be boosting, brother.
9 hours of Pokemon. Mike, just imagine the things you could get accomplished if you weren't interested in, like, I don't know,
Right?
a girlfriend, cool things, sports. 9 hours of Pokemon,
That's
all
right.
for your enjoyment.
In front of thousands of people, man.
That's why the American productivity is in the tank right now.
Yeah, it's definitely not because workers are paid less than ever before. Anyway, for the amount of work that they do.
No argument there.
Anyway, what politics? What? Get out of here. Happy birthday today to the great Jay Leno,
Jay Leno.
host of The Tonight Show from 1992 to 2014.
He's 74.
Jay Leno's 72.
He's 71. Very close. Trending over on Reddit and across social media is DJ Khaled is releasing his next album.
Another one?
Yep, another one. Nice.
Another one.
That's good. Khaled comes out this Friday, and he actually had to sign an NDA for his own album, I guess. So rumors are being thrown around that he is collabing with a one Beyonce.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the rumors. Rumors and innuendo. Nothing confirmed yet.
You definitely have to sign one of those when you're even around her vicinity, so that makes sense.
And then finally, Beyond Meat has unveiled their third iteration of their plant-based meat product, and it is reported to be cheaper for consumers and have a better nutritional profile and be meatier than ever. It
Meatier?
is, yeah.
You imagine marketing non-meat as meteor? Like, wait a minute, what?
Hey, that Beyond, those Beyond burgers are good. They're good.
And apparently they're getting even better.
Yeah, I like them.
I was eating a bunch of them at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as of right now, the newest iteration of Beyond Burger is supposed to have, I'm looking at the nutritional facts right now, it has less fat than 80/20 ground beef and the Beyond Burger 2.0. It's got less saturated fat. It's got about 60 calories less than ground beef and is going to have more protein than ground beef of the 80/20 variety. So, if it costs less money, hey, maybe some people are making the switch. And that is the front page of the internet today.
I was at Burger King because my girlfriend, she doesn't eat meat, and Burger King's got, it's not Beyond. What's the other
Impossible
company?
Whopper.
Yeah.
Impossible Whopper, yeah.
No. They've got these impossible like breakfast, like breakfast sausage.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They're good. It's
Yeah?
good.
At Duncan, they have the Beyond Meats sausage patty that's very, very good. I'm telling you, my brother has been a vegan for a long time, and I mean, I used to give him wedgies. I used to,
Swirlies.
put his head in the toilet, pick on him like he was a nerd or something. And then I gave up red meat. And what helped me do that was these Impossible Whopper. Now, I've given those up as well. I just do chicken and fish now. But, man, you can't tell. Today, I don't think you can tell. I told people this. I said, listen, you put that Impossible Whopper in front of you, unless you're a Whopper,
aficionado.
Yeah, unless you're like a sommelier of fast food burgers.
Fast food meats?
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So, and they're getting better. How about that?
Yeah. All right, that is the front page of the internet, our spontaneous text question of the day in honor of me for my entire life mispronouncing au juice. All right, which is what you dip your prime rib in. I found out it is au jus. What is it? Au jus?
Au jus.
Au jus.
Au jus. All right. So we want words you have traditionally mispronounced until somebody corrected you. Somebody just texted in before the days of this radio show when I would only see Mike in the Orlando Sentinel. I pronounced his name Bianchi. Bianchi. That's better than what some of my elementary school friends used to call me. Mike B. Raunchy, they used to call me. Yeah. I have always said remember instead of remember with an N. Remember.
Remember. Oh.
I constantly drop the CH sound in Massachusetts. So it would be Massachusetts?
Massachusetts?
Massachusetts? Yeah.
That's a weird one. I looked up a couple real quick, and ones that came up were like quinoa. I straight up thought it was quinoa for the longest.
Swear to God?
Absolutely. Hand on my heart.
I actually heard quinoa before I ever saw it spelled, so that probably helped me.
See, I had heard it too, but I had separating the two. I was like, oh, okay, quinoa is something else. I don't know what quinoa is.
What about this one? Is it cauliflower or cauliflower? Is it cauliflower or cauliflower?
I think those are interchangeable.
Well, we'll have to check on that.
That's a dialect thing, I think.
Yeah.
How about Worcestershire sauce?
Yeah, somebody else texted in hollandaise sauce. I always thought it was holidays.
Yes, sauce. Same. I thought it was holiday sauce. Happy holidays. It's time for the sauce, brother.
Somebody texted in, for the longest time, I thought Jim Rome was pronounced horrible sports talk host.
Oh!
And it still is.
Epic.
Let's go to the jungle.
That's going to get you bad karma in the jungle right there. Yeah. Epic interview. I always love when Jim Rome would do an interview and he would like compliment himself afterwards on the epic interview. Great interview. Okay, Jim.
Another one.
That's right.
All right, let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach. Listen live on iHeartRadio. Now. No, seriously, do it now.
What's McDowell going to do?
Down to the finish. One car turned in the fence. Keselowski, the leader. To the outside comes McDowell, and Brad Keselowski wins Talladega as one car goes sliding, spinning, and slamming into the inside wall.
Man, that was wild.
My buddy.
Nobody knows NASCAR like our buddy does.
Hey there, buddy, chum, pal, friend, buddy, pal, chum, bud, friend, fellow, brother, amigo, pal, buddy, friend, chummy, chum, pal.
Here's Orlando sports TV legend, Buddy Pittman.
Buddy Pittman talks a little NASCAR with us every Wednesday at this time. Buddy, how are you this morning?
Mike, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day outside.
It is a beautiful day. It's good to be alive in the state of Florida, Buddy Pittman. All right, Brad Keselowski wins at Talladega over the weekend. Unlike Daytona, he didn't wreck his teammate and cost them both a victory, buddy.
No, he didn't. And this was a big win for Brad Keselowski because, we all know that he is a good driver on the super speedways, but he has really been in a lull as of late. If you look at his last 13 super speedway races, he had 7 DNFs and had finished outside the top 10 in 12 of those 13 races. So he was beginning to worry about whether or not he had lost his ability to win on those super speedways. But by golly, this past weekend, he got the job done, came through, gets his sixth win at Talladega, and that puts him in some pretty rare company. He joins Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon with 6 wins at Talladega. The only guy with more wins at Talladega, of course, is Dale Sr. He had 10 wins at the big track up in Alabama. But keep in mind, Mike, that this win was 12 years to the day that Brad Keselowski got his very first Cup Series win, which was also at Talladega. And in that first win that he got in 2009 at Talladega, and this win he got this past Sunday at Talladega, the only lap he led was the last lap, and that's the one that counts.
Yeah, and I mentioned what happened at Daytona on the last lap, obviously, when Keselowski, who did he wreck with on the last lap? I'm trying to remember now. One of his teammates.
Joey Logano. Yeah,
Joey Logano. All right, so I'm reading the story, and it says Keselowski's 6th win at Talladega came after team owner Roger Penske pulled the 3 Penske drivers and affiliate Matt DiBenedetto onto a call this week to discuss his expectations on how they should race Sunday. So they got called on the carpet, I guess.
Well, he did not want to see another opportunity of where the teammates take each other out. So it was racing instructions. Everybody's racing for themselves when you get to that point in the race. Every man for themselves. Teammates don't do anything. But his specific instructions was, let's don't cost our team a win. So let's don't wreck each other. Basically, you can race hard, but be smart and don't wreck each other. And that was the message that the chief was portraying to these guys. We had 2 cars up front at Daytona, and we wound up taking each other out, and Michael McDowell comes through and gets the win. So let's don't have a repeat performance of that. That was the message that Penske had for those guys this week.
All right, speaking of wrecks and speaking of Penske drivers, Joey Logano was involved in an airborne wreck at Talladega, and after the race, he called on NASCAR to sort of change the racing conditions at these super speedways at Daytona and Talladega. One of his quotes was, "On one hand, I am mad about being in the crash, and on the other, I'm happy to be alive. I'm wondering when we are going to stop because this is dangerous doing what we're doing." And then he goes on to essentially say it's not acceptable. Your thoughts on that, buddy?
Well, I think this is a concern that that NASCAR has had and continues to have, and I'm sure the drivers are certainly concerned about, and that is cars getting airborne. There's not really, I mean, you are basically just flying and out of control when you have a wreck at Daytona or Talladega going 200 miles an hour and you get airborne, and particularly, fortunately, in this case, no other cars really hit or collided into Logano while he was airborne. The problem that they're dealing with is on these super speedways, and one of the things that Logano was concerned about, which he said thought might help the situation, is they have a 9-inch spoiler on the back of these cars. And that gives these cars this big run coming down the stretch. It used to be most of the wrecks happened in the turns on these super speedways, but guys are wrecking each other on the straightaways now because they get such big runs coming up behind the car in front of them. They basically get there faster than they know how to react to, and these cars are making contacts and causing wrecks. And when you're going that fast on these big tracks like that, the car, once it gets around backwards, they do have the roof flaps, which help keep the car down. But when you're going 200 miles an hour, Mike, and you get that big air on that 9-inch spoiler in the back, there's not much you can do to keep the car down on the ground. And so that's the big concern that Joey Logano had and what NASCAR is dealing with. I mean, Logano the NASCAR officials met with Logano and Penske and Jeremy Bullins, the guys on that team, on Monday to talk about this exact issue. And it is something that they hope will be addressed somewhat with the new car that's coming out, the next-gen car, which is coming out next year. But still, there's going to be an issue unless they do something aerodynamically with the spoiler on the back to keep these cars from trying to get airborne. It's a catch-22. You're trying to create better racing and good, tight racing, but at the same time, you got to deal with the hazards of a wreck like that. So that's what NASCAR, and I think that's what Logano is referring to. he's thankful to have a car as safe as he is. He even said it after the race. I'm thankful that we've got a car that I can go through a wreck like that and walk away and talk about it. But at the same time, we got to do something to keep this type of stuff from happening. So I think that's a concern for everybody.
Buddy, I know it's not NASCAR, but they also had the St. Pete Grand Prix over the weekend. IndyCar where's IndyCar racing right now as far as popularity? They were in the tank for a while. Are they coming out of that?
Well, I think to a certain extent they're starting to come back a little bit, Mike, but they're still a long way to go. Keep in mind this is the second race for the IndyCar season. The first one was 2 Sundays ago at Barber Motorsports Park outside of Birmingham. And keep in mind, Jimmy Johnson is now running the street and the road courses on the IndyCar series. So this was his second race at St. Pete. The first week at Barberville, he started 19th and finished 22nd. This past weekend, or finished 21st. This past weekend, he got off course and finished 22nd in this second race. But he's doing what he needs to do, and that's just get experience and being able to run as many laps as he can. Colton Herta won the race at St. Pete. But the series in itself, once again, continues to suffer from the same thing that it has before, is recognizable names and personalities that the fans can get behind. That's what made NASCAR so popular. It was the personalities of the drivers years ago. That's what really built the sport. And IndyCar, you look at the names on the list, and a lot of them are foreign drivers. A lot of them are drivers which really don't have the name recognition factor, and that makes it hard for the fans to really buy into that sport and to really follow it. I know when you're at the race, it's great racing. They do a good job with the sport, but in looking at their overall ratings for the year, about 90% of their coverage for the IndyCar series, really interest in the race, comes in the Indy 500.
Wow.
5% to 10% of the rest of the exposure for the season is in the other races. So that really tells you that outside of the Indy 500, they really have a lot of work to do to try to bring the fans in and get a lot of attention to that sport.
Buddy, what do we have this week in NASCAR?
Well, Mike, we're coming up to Kansas this weekend, race number 11. It's a 1.5-mile track, another 400-miler. Track was built back in 2001, so it hasn't been around really a long time in terms of NASCAR racing, so to speak. One of the interesting things about Kansas is that if you look this weekend up off of Turn 2, if they show a shot up off of Turn 2, there is a casino and hotel built up outside of Turn 2 that overlooks the Turn 2 racing area at the Kansas Speedway. So people can go right there, they can stay at the track, they can gamble at the track, and they can watch the race all at the same time right there from the Speedway. This is going to be one of those. We've got 3 drivers who have 3 wins there. Kevin Harvick has 3. Joey Logano, he won last October there. He has 3. And also Denny Hamlin has 3, who has won 2 of the last 3 at Kansas. So they're prime contenders. But Kevin Harvick, I think this may be his weekend. Like you said, he has 3 wins. He also has finished second at Kansas 4 times. So this could be a good weekend for Harvick to try to break out of his slump that he's kind of fallen into, because this has not been a typical Kevin Harvick year. I mean, he has had good runs. He has been consistent and been there, but he only has like 5 top 10 finishes out of the first 10 races. So that's very uncharacteristic of Kevin Harvick. So it'll be interesting to see how they do this weekend. And at the betting odds right now, Denny Hamlin is a 5-1 favorite. Martin Truex is a 6-1 favorite. So it looks like Joe Gibbs Racing once again is going to carry the banner as far as the favorites with the bettors as they go into the weekend at Kansas.
Buddy, if Ron DeSantis gets his way, we'll be betting at the track at the Daytona 500 soon.
Look for that casino to be built outside Turn 2 there, Mike.
Right.
There was talk years ago about building a hotel out there like they did at Charlotte. Charlotte was the first to build a hotel outside down in Turns 1 and 2. And there was talk at Daytona years ago about doing that, of building a hotel out there. But that never transpired and never happened. But you never know. Once the wagering and the gambling starts getting into it, you never know what might happen.
Buddy Pittman, he always joins us every Wednesday to talk a little NASCAR, and we always enjoy it as well. Buddy, thank you so much.
Mike, have a great week.
Right around the corner, sound off is coming your way. We're going to react to all the hot sound of the day. But first, we have your chance right now to win $1,000. That is the Sound Off Music. The Sound Off brought to you by the 96.9 The Game Picks Predictor. Think you know who the Jags, Bucs, and Dolphins will select in the first round? Test your draft knowledge at 969thegame.com/draft. Enter our pick predictor to challenge for your shot at a $500 Wing House gift card. That's 969thegame.com/draft. What do we have?
Sound off. Sound off. When reports come out say you're infatuated with a guy like Pitts, is that legitimate, or do you just not like legitimate?
Not legitimate. But when I say it, I am. Anybody in this draft is impressed. Probably an exaggeration, is fascinated. I may have used the word myself, but the point is, it's a distortion for this draft and where we are there. It implies something that's just not the case. We're not going to go in there and spend inordinate value to maneuver up there so that we can get Pitt.
Jerry Jones, reacting to a question about, number one, why is Jerry Jones lying about this, Mike?
Did he just call him at the end of that clip? Did he just call him Pitt? He just called him Pitt.
Either he mispronounced the name,
or we cut it off.
Or they're so tight he's now got a little pet nickname for him. Hey, Pitt. What's going on, Pitt?
Oh, man.
That's right.
I'm drafting you, Pitt. Don't worry, I'm moving up for you, baby. Don't worry.
Well, the Cowboys, where are the Cowboys? I think they're 10th. Are they not? Are they 10th in the draft? So, yeah, they would have to trade up to get Kyle Pitts. I mean, the Falcons are probably going to take him at number 4 unless the Cowboys move up. So, I think if you're the Cowboys and you need weapons, why wouldn't you move up to try to get Kyle Pitts? Again, I'm not sure of what the Cowboys have, draft pick wise throughout the draft. But if you could move up, give up your first round pick and maybe, I don't know, a second round pick to get Kyle Pitts, I'd do that. Hell yeah, I'd do that. But I don't know if that's enough to get him. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm done.
He said, I'm done.
I mean, I can do everything, inside, outside. You can put me on special teams. I mean, it's nothing I can do. No job is too big. So, I mean, like, wherever you want to plug me in it, I mean, I can do that. So I feel like that just gives me an advantage. Okay.
Devante Smith, the greatest wide receiver in college football history, talking about transitioning to the NFL, and everybody just infatuated about his weight. What's going on, Adam?
He weighs 166 pounds.
So
he can do everything except go over the middle. He can do everything except go over the middle.
He can do everything, get through doors without opening them. That's 166 pounds.
Man, fun fact, I was 166 pounds in fourth grade. Birth. From the time I came out the womb.
Yeah, but you're a big boy.
Listen, if Devante Smith feels a little slighted because people are asking questions about his size, all right? Well, then every quarterback feels the minute they put their hands up against that little ruler and they go, 8-inch hands? Oh, sorry. Wah, wah. We're not drafting you in the first round. He's 166 pounds at a violent collision position. It's a legitimate ask, in my opinion. These are you're against the best of the best safeties, corners, linebackers. There ain't no Vanderbilt corners out there for you to be running against, or safeties to be hawking you over the middle of the field. So it's a legitimate question. And by the way, no job is too small, is what he meant to say.
Sound off.
Firm believer in UFOs and Sasquatch. So it's real. I saw it. I'm glad the Navy finally confirmed some more pictures. Now everybody doesn't think I'm as crazy. I believe.
Austin's favorite guy, Baker Mayfield, talking about the Navy and everybody declassifying these UFO videos last year. He believes in UFOs, Sasquatch. Do you believe in all this, Mike?
Absolutely.
Woo!
Yes. I believe. I mean, again, you would have to be. You would have to be pretty. You would have to be pretty egotistical as an Earthling. All right. To think that, we are the only people in the entire universe. We're the only planet where, the environment was right for human life or whatever form of life to form. That's egotistical. I mean, the universe is huge. We don't even know what some parts of the universe are like. So, absolutely, I don't know about Sasquatch now, but but UFOs and alien beings in other star galaxies. Absolutely, I believe in that. Who wouldn't?
Do you think every time we have like a SpaceX launch or we used to have like the shuttles launch that there's aliens on another planet going, I swear to God, Mom, I saw a UFO out there.
Absolutely.
It was flying across the sky. I don't know what it was.
That's right.
Beep, boop, beep, 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 boop, beep. Nanu, nanu.
Is this what they sound like in your head?
Hey, listen, all aliens in my mind either look like Mork from Mork and Mindy or they sound like Alf. They eat cats.
What do you think about your man over here, man?
Who said Nanu Nanu? Was Nanu Nanu Mork?
Mork and Mindy, yeah.
Okay.
Dude, Baker Mayfield's onto something. We should all be believers. Get your tin hats ready. We should all believe.
Sound off. Swinging a drive deep to center. Get up, ball. Get out of here. Gone. His second home run of the night to straightaway center.
It's Vlad Guerrero Jr. going absolutely ape-ish the other night. You know what I mean? What was going on the other night, Adam?
Thank God, because I heard the crack of the bat and I thought you were re-racking Chris Weidman's leg for us. I was like, oh, God, it's his leg. Oh, no, that was Vlad Guerrero. Here's the funny part is, this is now that I've gotten old, is that a baseball player that I remember from my youth has a kid that's doing things now. It's impressive, following in a famous father's footsteps and then kind of accomplishing the sort of level that they were able to do is very rare. This may be one of those cases where Vlad Guerrero Sr. was a great baseball player, had one of the greatest arms I've ever seen in my life out in what was that, right field, and his son is an absolute monster and is just doing things. 3 home runs last night and one of the
Hey, Prince of Production, if you're going to play a home run from Vlad Guerrero, can we play the grand slam he hit last night instead of some solo shot that he hit? Can we play the grand slam?
Drive. Get up, ball. Get out of here. And grand slam for Vladdy Guerrero Jr.
Now, I was saving that for you next time, but I'll take all the good clips for myself. You're welcome.
Real quick, though, the Toronto Blue Jays are like the junior team. When I say that, I say that in the nicest way possible. They've got Vlad Guerrero Jr., they've got Bo Bichette, who his dad is
Dante Bichette.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Biggio.
Craig
Biggio's son. Woo! That's their top 3. It goes Biggio, Bichette, Guerrero Jr.
The Toronto Blue Jays have basically become a horse racing organization where they're just drafting off bloodlines.
That's
now.
right.
You know,
Sound off.
I'm so old.
No.
Oh, sorry. That's a different clip right there. That's sound off for today.
I am so old.
Which means...
Sorry, Mike, we gotta cut you off because I've got a $50 gift card to Bonefish Grill, brother. Wood-grilled seafood specialties take the spotlight at Bonefish Grill this spring. Enjoy decadent new seasonal fish dishes like Rockefeller Butterfish featuring Alaskan black cod topped with creamy spinach and jumbo lump crab. Visit bonefishgrill.com to view the whole menu, but give us a call right now, 407-916-8255, and a $50 Bonefish Grill gift card could be yours. Mike, I'm sorry I cut you off.
How old are you, Mike?
I'm so old. I remember when Bo Bichette, Dante Bichette's son, I remember when he played in the Little League World Series right here in Central Florida. I think he played for the Maitland team, and they were in the Little League World Series. Yeah, that's how old I am.
That's pretty old.
Yeah. All right, straight ahead, Dr. J tells LeBron, you're not one of even the 10 best NBA players of all time. That's next on Open Mic.
What does Mike Bianchi and the
I stand corrected. Somebody just texted in and told me it wasn't Bo Bichette who played for the Maitland Little League World Series team. It was his older brother, Dante Bichette Jr.
Man,
does that make me?
We could have saved you the trouble. We kept interrupting you. You could have just not.
Yeah, that makes me even older.
It does. It does make you even older.
Anyway, all right. So I found this story pretty interesting. So Dr. J, Julius Erving, one of the great NBA players of all time, he was on a podcast with Chris Haynes. All right. They were on a podcast the other day. Well, during this posted up podcast, Chris Haynes asked Dr. J to put together his all-time NBA first and second teams. All right. So in the process of doing that, Dr. J on his first team, he put Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, and Elgin Baylor. All right. So he's got a bunch of old timers on his first team. I don't know if he's doing this in chronological order or not, but his first team, he has Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Elgin Baylor, and Oscar Robertson. His second team, he has Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Karl Malone, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You notice anybody missing on those two teams?
LeBron James.
Maybe LeBron James isn't on there. And here was Dr. J talking about, I don't know if he's talking about leaving LeBron James off or whatever, but here was Dr. J explaining his teams.
Played with so many guys. He's the guy who has led the charge in terms of super teams being put together. Yeah. When he put together a team in Miami, basically he put together a team together in Cleveland as well, and put together a team in Los Angeles. So he could pick his own team. I ain't gonna pick his team. I ain't there. Not bad about LeBron.
Okay, so he's discrediting LeBron because he put together super teams. All right. Well, and again, I don't like these super teams being put together, but Bill Russell didn't have to put together a super team back in the day because the Celtics could just keep all of their own players. There was no free agency. The players couldn't go anywhere. Bill Russell was on the same team as John Havlicek and Bob Cousy and Sam Jones. You look at the Lakers teams when they, when they won their title, they had Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West and Gail Goodrich and guys like that. Why? Because the players couldn't go anywhere. So the best teams just were able to get on, like, for instance, Wilt Chamberlain. He forced his way out of Philly to go to the Lakers. Kareem forced his way out of Milwaukee to go to the Lakers. So these guys just joined super teams back then. So LeBron put them together. You're gonna penalize LeBron for that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And again, I don't like the fact that NBA players like, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant and James Harden are putting together these super teams. I don't like it, but you can't penalize LeBron because he sort of started the super team concept. Back in the day, you already had super teams. They were self-made. You didn't have to build them. Thoughts?
First of all, I mean, not including LeBron in your top 10 NBA players is just dumb. All right. And I get that you've got like a hot take angle to it. But in this Jordan versus LeBron, we can all agree here. Then what's your argument against Michael Jordan being in the top 5? I mean, this again is just. Listen, with all due respect to a guy that, used to be able to jump from one side of the hoop and then dunk it on the other side and all this other stuff. Not having Michael Jordan in your top 5, if the reason why you don't have in your top 10, LeBron's kind of gone from team to team and had these super teams. Why isn't Michael Jordan does Michael Jordan not fit the criteria of the top 5 guys that stayed with he predominantly stayed with one team until he retired and then came back, led his team to 6 NBA titles? What's the reason against Michael Jordan? Listen, I'm a LeBron guy in that argument, but it just sounds like to me this is an old guy who wanted an old list, and he made an old list and kept most of the young guys or this generation of players off of his 10-player list. I mean, Tim Duncan also not on the list. Give me another guy who isn't as old school as Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan's not on his top 10 list. That's ridiculous.
Plus, he's got Michael Jordan in his second. On his second team, he's got Elgin Baylor. May he rest in peace. He just passed away a few weeks ago. Elgin Baylor never won a championship with the Lakers, and you're going to put him on the list ahead of Michael Jordan. And again, Bill Russell, great player, but he had a super team. Bill Russell had a super team. I can understand Wilt Chamberlain, and Jerry West. Jerry West wasn't even the best player on his own team. So, again, I don't understand.
I feel bad for this guy's podcast. This guy's podcast has just lost all NBA credibility. You thought you were having, hey, we got this great get. We're getting Dr. J on. Let's see what he thinks of that. And then now everybody's like, I'm not listening to that podcast. It's
but this podcast just got blown up with so many new eyes on it. Like, all press is good press, right?
No, I'm joking about that part. But at the end of the day, you look at this and we can focus on the LeBron thing because it's the notable omission. But I'm like, well, wait a second. I'm upset about LeBron not being in the top 10. But at the same time, Jordan fans got to be like, well, wait a minute. What's my guy got to do to get in the top 5 of this list? Elgin Baylor in front of Michael Jordan. You give me one other guy who's played in the NBA, watches the NBA, knows anything about the NBA where you say, which guy was better, Elgin Baylor or Michael Jordan? Well, I'll take Elgin Baylor.
I mean, you were asking for his personal list. These are the guys that he looked at his time. You understand? So it's not like it's going to move around. I guarantee you when we get older into that age, we're probably going to keep the core list that we have now, even though they're going to be more incredible players.
I'm not going to put Chuck Person on my list. Chuck Person is my favorite player of all time growing up. He ain't in my top 10 of NBA players. I just think maybe Dr. J's getting up there and he couldn't.
Well, listen here, boy.
What's that kid? What's the kid from
Here's the other thing. How's Kareem not in the top 5? All-time leading scorer in NBA history, won a title with the Milwaukee Bucks, then went to the Lakers and won multiple titles. And again, Bill Russell was, he won a lot of championships, but Bill Russell was no Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. No Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
This guy's list. Who is this guy again? What did he do?
What did he ever do?
Where did he get his doctorate from? I'm questioning that degree. Little Boosie is not impressed with his list.
Yeah. All right around the corner, I have a scenario where I'm telling you guys, Kyle Trask, if this happens, if the Tampa Bay Bucs can make this happen, Kyle Trask will become the best quarterback of this NFL draft class. Laugh if you want. It's going to happen. I can feel it. Next.
96. Time to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Ho, welcome back to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, he's right there. Austin Pastolka, the Sultan of Sound, he's right there. Kelly Velez, the Prince of Production, he's right over there. We are doing it up today. We are the quartet of sports talk radio excellence in the megalopolis we know as Central Florida. Our spontaneous text question of the day.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
And this is based on something that happened yesterday. It was National Prime Rib Day yesterday, and I was telling the guys how prime rib is my favorite cut of not just beef, but any kind of meat. And I told them I love to go to restaurants and get a nice big thick piece of medium rare prime rib, and then I like when they bring the bowl of au juice over, so you can dip your prime rib, maybe mix a little horseradish in that au juice. And Adam started laughing at me and goes, he knows how you pronounce it. He's just doing that to be funny. And so I sort of went along with Adam's explanation yesterday, but I admitted this morning, that's really what I thought. I thought it was pronounced au juice. And these guys told me this morning it's actually au jus. Au jus. All right? You're a whole new person. So the spontaneous text question, words that you have mispronounced for a long time until somebody told you that you were being a rube, like these guys told me. Chipotle, I always said, the fast food Mexican, is it a Mexican restaurant?
It's a burrito place.
Yeah, burrito. Chipotle, I always called it, but these guys corrected me on that too and said it's Chipotle.
There you go.
Chipotle.
Man, Mike, this is such good stuff. I'm so proud of you for realizing you were wrong and changing your ways of speaking. I'm proud of you.
50857, text those in. Somebody just texted in Simonin instead of synonym.
Simonin.
Pescetti. For years, I pronounced pursuant as persuade, and my wife still gives me a hard time for that.
I love the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, yeah, the specific. People say Pacific. People say Pacific instead of specific. In fact, somebody just texted that in. Neanderthal. The H is silent. It is? I always thought it was Neanderthal. It's Neanderthal.
What? It's Neanderthal. I only know this because one of my wrestling buddies when I was in high school, we called him Tall because he was short for Neanderthal.
Oh, I learned that just now, boys.
I thought it was Neanderthal. Did you know that?
No.
Deceptive intellect?
No. Neanderthal?
Neanderthal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah, but let's make sure that's accurate. I'm not actually believing that. Somebody else texted in, I always thought it was Doggy Dog World, Dogggy, Doggy Dog World, and not Doggy Dog World. Yeah.
This is Snoop Doggy Dog's world.
Yeah. Doggy Dog World. Also, mayonnaise, I pronounced it mayonnaise. Mayonnaise.
Wait, is that wrong?
I pronounce it mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise. M-A-N-A.
Whatever. Yeah.
Mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise.
That's too much, though.
How do you say it? Mayonnaise or mayonnaise?
Mayonnaise.
Oh, it's like mayonnaise. Like there's a real quick in there.
Mayonnaise.
Neanderthal is correct. I just Googled it.
Yeah, I just pronounced mayonnaise at Miracle Whip. It's much easier. Yeah.
Mayo.
All right, so I wrote a column in today's Orlando Sentinel. You can go to Orlando Sentinel right now and read the fine column. In fact, that a lot of people are clicking on it, calling it clickbait and all of this stuff. And it's actually not clickbait. I believe it. I believe it with all of my heart. All right. And the column is about Kyle Trask, the Gator quarterback, who is dropping down the NFL draft boards. I think right after the football season, there were a lot of people who thought Kyle Trask was going to be a surefire first-round draft pick. Would anybody argue with that?
Yeah, during the season, I remember he was a Heisman Trophy, candidate, and then that lost a little steam. We kind of knew going into the Alabama game, the winner of that between he and Mac Jones was going to sort of take an inside track there, and so he lost a little ground as far as rankings of quarterbacks went, through that game. And then, as I said before, I was joking that maybe all these NFL scouts, they just said, let me see his last game. And it was the Oklahoma game. They're like, wait a minute. Now, hold on now. They need to look back at the whole season where he was much, much better than just what the Oklahoma. Let me see a game. Let me see a game of this quarterback play without Kyle Pitts catching the ball for. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Unless this is a package deal, I don't know. We may want to stay away from Kyle Trask. Hold on.
Yeah. Well, then what's the excuse for Mac Jones surging up the draft board?
They haven't seen tape. They haven't seen tape of him playing without all his weapons yet.
Yeah.
How big are his hands?
Yeah, Mac Jones is, again, he's projected to be the third quarterback taken. Obviously, the first two are going to be Trevor Lawrence, taken by the Jaguars, and then Zach Wilson, taken by the New York Jets. And then you're going to have Mac Jones probably going to the San Francisco 49ers. If he doesn't go to the 49ers, it'll be Trey Lance from North Dakota State. So those are four quarterbacks out there. The fifth quarterback is probably going to be Justin Fields of Ohio State. Now there's talk that Kellen Mond of Texas A&M might be the sixth quarterback taken. So Kyle Pitts could be the seventh quarterback taken in the NFL draft, and I think that's a joke. Again, if you watch Kyle Pitts last year, and I'm not talking about the Cotton Bowl against Oklahoma.
Kyle Trask.
But did I say Kyle Pitts? Yeah, Kyle Trask. All right. If you watch Kyle Trask last year, the guy led the nation in touchdown passes, 43 touchdown passes last year. He was second in the nation in passing yards last year, almost 4,400 passing yards. And again, he played in the SEC, and I realize SEC defenses last year weren't what they've been in the past, but it's still the SEC. He's playing against top flight competition, and my column is about the Bucs. If the Bucs draft this guy, and the Bucs need a quarterback in the future, the Bucs do not have a quarterback back on their roster younger than 30 years old. They have Tom Brady, and then who was the guy they just signed as a backup a couple weeks ago, or it might have been last week? Ryan something or other.
That'll tell you about their quarterback, the quarterback room in Tampa.
Some jabroni.
Yeah. Byron Leftwich may be the second best quarterback in Tampa right now.
Yeah. So my take is, if the Bucs take Kyle Trask and allow him to sit behind Tom Brady for a year or two and soak up all of Tom Brady's knowledge and soak up all of Bruce Arians' knowledge. Bruce Arians, known as the quarterback whisperer. Byron Leftwich is obviously played in the NFL. He's considered an up-and-coming offensive quarterback guru as well. Put Kyle Trask in that situation as opposed to your Trevor Lawrences and your Justin Fields and your Zach Wilsons, who are going to bad teams and bad situations. I think Kyle Trask could turn into the best quarterback of this NFL draft. And I know that's a bit of a reach, but you look at situations, and we went through the stats earlier. Look at all the quarterbacks rated among the top quarterbacks in the league who weren't high first-round draft picks, who went to good teams or better teams than your Blake Bortles went to, or your Jameis Winston when the Bucs were terrible. Look at some of the situations these guys found themselves in. And I'm just saying, if you find yourself in a good situation like Aaron Rodgers when he went to the Packers, drafted late in the first round, sat behind Brett Favre for a couple years, and boom, comes in and he becomes maybe the best quarterback in the league. That's my take.
Yeah, it's not a bad take. I think that situation is going to be really, really important. I think what you have here, though, is the NFL basically looking at the Gators and say, all right, who's responsible for the success of this offense? Dan Mullen's had a lot of success coaching a bunch of different guys. We'll give him some. Kyle Pitts is otherworldly as a tight end / wide receiver. We see the love that he has in the NFL, so he gets a lot of the credit. Even Kadarius Toney.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. When Felipe Franks was quarterbacking the Gators, weren't these guys weren't they on the team? Weren't they in the starting lineup? I mean, I don't remember these guys thriving when Felipe. And again, Kyle Pitts, the first game he came in for Florida against Kentucky when he rallied them from 11 down in the fourth quarter to win the game after Felipe Franks broke his ankle. I mean, the offense like that became unbelievable.
Yeah, no, but I mean that's probably why Felipe Franks won't be drafted. They really don't believe in what it is that Felipe Franks has to offer. But I just think that even a guy like Kadarius Toney over the last month, you've seen his stock value rise, and people are going, all right, well, if we think it's a little bit Mullen, we think it's a lot of bit Pitts, we think it's some Kadarius Toney, and then there's some Trask in there too. It's just not. Again, I'm with you. When I look at Mac Jones, I go, well, what's his value to Alabama's offense that Kyle Trask's isn't to Florida's offense? Because you think about all the weapons that were surrounded. Heck, Mac Jones is surrounded with better talent, top to bottom than Kyle Trask was. And it still seems that teams are madly in love with him, way up at the top of the draft, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, in fact, Mac Jones, he's another one who may turn into the best quarterback in this draft because San Francisco